the left, you're all being waved at. I should add very early on, this is now waving season on the Norfolk Broads. So do expect to be waved at and photographed quite a lot. After the weekend, I'd recommend practicing your royal salute. Very easy to work out the locals for the tourists. All the tourists like to wave, they are on holiday. But many of the locals do seem to see themselves as beyond such things. In the water to our left, you'll see a goose. That is a grey lag goose. You'll have seen plenty of them as you're waiting to come on board the boat as well. Those ones with the orange beaks, they are the most common goose by far you'll find on the Norfolk Broads. Many of those grey lag geese will also have their goslings with them at the moment too. Along this stretch of river, I wouldn't be surprised to see some Egyptian geese and some Canada geese also. But for anyone who's unfamiliar with the Norfolk Broads, I can tell you that we're currently on the River Bure. This is one of 7 rivers that connect the Norfolk Broads together. And all these rivers combined accumulate to about 125 miles of navigable waters. This river is the longest and the busiest. This one's about 35 miles long. And if we were to continue in the direction we're going for another 24 of those miles, we'd meet the sea at Great Yarmouth. And where this river is, currently does divide 2 parishes. To the left of us is Horning, and to the right of us is Wood Baswick. Wood Baswick does have a main village centre, it's probably about a mile or so inland.
Oh, yeah.
And that sandy coloured property over to our left, with the blue furniture and the sculpture of the pelican in the garden, that is called the Little House. And it was regularly lived in the 1920s by the author Arthur Ransom, famous for writing the book The Swallows and Amazons. It's from that property he wrote the book called The Coop Club, which is named after the bird and based in the village of Horning. Over to the right you'll see a red boat with a heron perched on the left of it.
Oh, yes.
You'll see many herons along this stretch of water. They've become very familiar with humans. I would much rather hang around near us in the hope of being thrown a free fish rather than doing the actual fishing for themselves. Many of those boats have floated outbuildings to our right are lived in all year round. There's a very nice community living on the Wood Baswick side. Living on a boat is a cheaper option than buying a house, although I wouldn't say inexpensive. Any of those larger boats brought brand new could cost you up to about £200,000. You'll see they've managed to secure themselves some very nice gardens too. If you do live on board the water or on a boat, you are exempt from council tax. The only slight problem about living to our right is all the amenities are in Horning. So if anybody over there requiring their morning milk, they do have to jump into a small boat to cross the water. There's actually a few families living on that side, and you'll see the children crossing in their school uniforms. Many of the properties we'll soon be passing are now available as holiday lets. These vary in price. So over to our left we're going to come past a property called Deerfoot. It's got the 2 black stags underneath that flag. Also a couple of swans and their cygnets. Now Deerfoot sleeps 10 people, and last time I checked you could rent it out for 1 week during the summer for £3,500. The same family owned this property beyond it called Tilby. Tilby sleeps 8 and is available for slightly less. Everybody nearby is doing their very best to become friendly with this family. You'll also notice outside their home some very nice wooden sculptures, a couple of horses and herons. They were made by a local artist. It did take about 15 years to complete. The reason it took so long, there's all found driftwood that's slowly pieced together. The smaller properties around here will start at £850 or so for the week.
It's absolutely gorgeous scenery.
As some of you came on board, you mentioned you're from London. So I'll ask this question without any hope at all. Do any of you follow the football team QPR? No, usual level of silence. I ask the question because Tony Fernandez, the owner of QPR, owns that Tudor-style property to our left. The black and white one with the thatched roof. Tony also owns Air Asia. And as well presented as many of these properties look, you won't be surprised to know that much of the money that goes into them does have to go into the foundations. You are building on very marshy, boggy land around here, so your foundations are vital. Historically, the older properties you see would have oak posts for their foundations, and those posts would be banged at least 80